Oh no, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, but that's all right. Nobody's on yet. Anyway, don't turn off. Don't turn off. All right, I wasn't ready. I accidentally pushed it. I was trying to change the name. See if Brianna comes on. It feels so dark. Feels so dark. Hi guys, it's Amy with Jukebox Storytime. I have 3 books today. Just waiting for my grandkids to hop on. I wasn't ready. I'm a couple minutes early. Brianna is at school. Okay. What about Jacob? I'll see if Jake can bring it on the TV. Awesome, awesome. I will wait for you, Brianna. I will wait for you. I will wait for Brianna. These are the books I'm reading today. I don't know if it's going to be backwards. I got to switch it over or something. Dr. Seuss, the iBook. I got Fuzzy Rabbit. And what was that? I'm just waiting to see if the grandkids hop on. I don't want to start without them, seeing that they're the jukebox. So just waiting. Hello, 3. Oh, I see, because now there's going to be comments, which is good because I think the one that I did yesterday, because I made it, they said that I could never get monetized for it if it was just for kids. So I switched it over and I figured it's for my grandkids. So it's okay. Just waiting. I've taken a lot of walks and a lot of bus rides lately, so it's super fun. Super fun. He's trying to figure it out. Jacob is trying, my son-in-law is trying to figure it out to get the kids on there. Awesome. Thank you, Brianna. I really appreciate that. Got Sheila here. She had to get in. Of course, I got my, whatever that is, my favorite. All right. We'll do the iBook first when they get on. I probably should have messaged her earlier and set it up. It's in my 2nd episode. He's bringing it up now. Jacob is awesome. Best son-in-law ever. My dolls. This is me. It's Cass. I have more dolls, but she's got a big head, so she falls over a lot. Oh, did you get new books? Well, I had a bunch of books. Bree. I got the iBook. Fuzzy Rabbit. I know it's backwards, but nobody's watching now. What was that? Episode 2. Dun, dun, dun. I got a new pen. I really, really like it. I got it from the record store. I've been going to the record store. How do you do that? I don't know. It says music festivals. I thought it was perfectly meant for me. All right, 3 people on. I don't know. Brianna will message me if it is. And I probably won't be able to answer any questions. Okay, they're watching. Hi, girls. Hi, Denver. Let's see, we got Delilah, Denver, and Daisy. We're going to start with the iBook by Dr. Seuss. It's a bright and early book for beginners. iBook. The iBook by Dr. Seuss, writing as Theo Lessig, illustrated by Joe Matthew Matthew. Eyes. My eyes, his eyes, his eyes. Wink eye, pink eye, pink eye. My eyes see, his eyes see. I see him and he sees me. Our eyes see blue, our eyes see red. They see a bird, they see a bed. They see the sun, they see the moon. They see a fork, a knife, a spoon. Hello, Jacob. They see a girl, they see a man, a boy, a horse, and an old tin can. They look down holes, they look up poles. Our eyes see trees, they look at clocks, they look at bees, they look at socks. Bye, Brianna. Have a good time at school. I love you. Our eyes see flies, our eyes see ants. Sometimes they say pink underpants. Our eyes see rings, our eyes see strings. They see so many, many things. So many things like rain and pie, and dogs and airplanes in the sky. And so we say, hooray for eyes, hooray, hooray, hooray for eyes. The end. All right. We'll do Fuzzy Rabbit next. Fuzzy Rabbit by Rosemary Billum. Pictures by Vanessa Julian Oddie. Fuzzy Rabbit. Page Turner fingers. Fuzzy Rabbit had been with the family for as long as he could remember. His dungarees were faded. He had a hole in the elbow of his sweater, and his buttons were all odd ones of different sizes. One of the stitches of his mouth had come undone, and he couldn't even smile. His little girl Ellen kept telling him to cheer up. He tried, but he felt lonely and down in the dumps. He remembered the old days when Ellen used to take him to school in her knapsack. That was interesting. He liked learning things. He liked the other children. He used to sit next to Ellen and help her with her math and watch her paint. But recently, Ellen had started leaving him at home with the other toys. On her birthday, for the first time, Ellen forgot to take Fuzzy downstairs for her birthday party. He could hear the children in the front room dancing to music and playing games. He sighed. He felt a bit left out. He decided to go and have a little peek, so he climbed off the bed and tiptoed out to the landing. He lowered himself down the stairs and pushed his head between the banister rails. He could see Ellen opening her presents. There were pieces of wrapping paper and bits of ribbon and cards and envelopes all over the floor. Fuzzy had never seen so many presents. There were cries of delight as Ellen opened a box and took out a pink doll with curly hair and shiny black shoes. Fuzzy thought that she looked like a perfectly ordinary sort of doll. Ellen was excitedly opening her next present. Inside, was a feathery owl wearing a pair of spectacles. Ellen showed him off to her friends. Fuzzy couldn't see what all the fuss was about. Ellen's mother started to light the candles on the cake. I'll just shut the door so that the draft won't blow them out, she said. It was dark and cold on the landing, and Fuzzy couldn't watch the party anymore, so he went back to Ellen's room and climbed up on the bed. He kept thinking what a lot of fun the children were having. That night, Ellen was allowed to stay up late. When it was time for bed, she had to get out of her party dress and into her nightgown very quickly. She put the pink doll and the owl onto her bed next to Fuzzy. "Move over, Fuzzy," she said. Fuzzy wished the new toys didn't take up so much room. He nudged the owl to make him move over a bit. The owl pecked him. Fuzzy didn't think that was very polite. Fuzzy hoped Ellen would see that he was being squashed. But after saying goodnight, she went straight to sleep because she was so tired. "Excuse me," he whispered to the pink doll, "but I need a bit more space." She pretended not to hear him. Fuzzy gave her a push, but she pushed him back, and Fuzzy fell over the side and rolled underneath the bed. I don't even know if you can see my face. Doesn't matter. It was very cold on the floor all night, but what was worse, nobody noticed that he was missing in the morning. He lay there sadly all day, sneezing in the dust. Nobody heard him. Fuzzy wondered if Ellen would remember him when she came home from school. Would she think of looking under the bed? At 4:00, Ellen's friend Mary came over to play. "What shall we do this afternoon?" asked Mary. "Let's play nurses," said Ellen. They got out Ellen's nursing kit and uniform from the dresser. The girls put all the toys into the hospital, but Ellen wasn't happy. Something wasn't right. Something was missing. "Where's Fuzzy?" she said. The girls searched in the closet, behind the curtains, and under the bed covers. "He's lost," said Mary. "He must be hiding," said Ellen. She looked under the bed. "Fuzzy, what are you doing down there? You're all dusty." Ellen picked Fuzzy up and gave him a hug. Ellen was surprised at how thin he'd become. "I remember when Mommy first made you. You were so cuddly and cheerful and bright," she said. She looked at Fuzzy and noticed that the fuzzy wool on his face had worn away and that he was losing some of his stuffing. "Look," she whispered to Mary. "Oh, look," she whispered to Mary. "I could take him home with me and make him better," said Mary. "I'd swap my kaleidoscope for him," she added. Fuzzy was suddenly very frightened. Mary was quite a nice little girl, but he didn't want to go and live at her house. What would Ellen say? Ellen didn't need time to think. She answered right away. "I wouldn't swap Fuzzy for anything. He's always been my best friend. I can make him better." Fuzzy felt happy through and through. Mary took his temperature and made charts for all the other patients while Ellen threaded a needle for the operation. She got the syringe out of her nursing kit and gave Fuzzy an injection. "It won't hurt now," she told him. Ellen pushed all the stuffing back in and sewed him up. "All over now," she said. She also put another stitch in his lips so that he could smile again. Ellen and Fuzzy smiled at each other. Ellen fussed over Fuzzy while Mary gave the owl some medicine and tied a bandage around the pink doll's arm. "What are their names?" asked Mary. "They haven't got names yet," said Ellen. Fuzzy looked across at the new toys sitting in the old cradle. He thought how horrible it must be not to have a name. "What are you going to call them?" asked Mary. "I'll call the owl Wisey because he's wise, and I'll call the doll Jane because she looks like a Jane," said Ellen. Ellen's mother called, "Tea's ready," so the girls ran downstairs. Fuzzy went over to Jane and Wisey. "Hello," he said. "My name's Fuzzy." Just then, the door opened and Ellen and Mary came back. They sat all the toys down in a circle and set out the dolls' tea service. Mary poured the orange juice and Ellen sliced the birthday cake. She gave Fuzzy the biggest piece because he'd been so brave. It's nice to have friends, thought Fuzzy, smiling. I think I might have skipped pushing one of the pages for. All right, one more book. It is a Little Golden Look book, and it is What Was That by Gita Bradley Matthews, pictures by Norman Chartier. This used to belong to somebody named Jimmy Chase. So if anybody out there knows Jimmy Chase from the 70s, this might have been your book. Where did I get it? Rhode Island. We're not going to know that. One cold winter night, Baby Bear snuggled down under the bed covers and shut his eyes to go to sleep. Then right in his room, he heard an eek and a creak and a squeak. Baby Bear sat straight up in his bed. What was that? He called out in the darkness. Then he skedaddled out of bed. Down the hall and swoosh into bed with his big brother. I heard an eek right in my room, said Baby Bear from deep down under the covers, and a creak and a squeak. Why, there's nothing to be frightened of, said the big brother bear. Those noises were some little mice in their little mouse house getting ready for bed. That eek was a baby mouse, he said. Eek! When he slid his bare feet down between the cold, cold sheets. The creak was the sound of the bed springs creaking when he turned over on his side to go to sleep. And that squeak was his mother's voice saying goodnight. Mice speak in squeaks, you know. Oh, Baby Bear, now go to sleep, said the big brother bear. They both snuggled down under the bed covers and shut their eyes to go to sleep. Then deep in the wall, they heard a tap and a rap and a snap. Baby Bear and the big brother bear sat straight up in their bed. What was that? They called out into the darkness. Then they both skedaddled out of bed, down the hall, and swoosh! Into bed with the biggest brother bear. We heard a tap in the wall. The two bears' voices came from deep down under the covers, and we heard a rap and a snap. Why, there's nothing to be frightened of, said the biggest brother bear. Those noises you heard were little spiders getting ready for bed. The tap was a little spider who had finished brushing his teeth and was tapping the water off his toothbrush. The rap was the rap of his hairbrush as he laid it down on the dresser after brushing his hair, and that snap was the light being turned out by his mother when she came to tuck him in and say goodnight. Oh, said the two bears. Now let's go to sleep, said the biggest brother bear. So all three snuggled down under the bed covers and shut their eyes to go to sleep. Then, way down under the floor, they heard a bump and a thump and a clump. The three bears sat straight up in the bed. What was that? They called out in the darkness. Then they all skedaddled out of bed, down the hall, and swoosh into bed with their mama and papa. We heard a bump under the floor. The three bears cried from way down under the covers near the mama and papa bear's feet. And we heard a thump and a clump. Why, there was nothing to be frightened of, said the mama bear. That bump was a little bug taking off his shoes, getting ready for bed. He let one of the shoes drop with a bump on the hard dirt floor. That thump was the little bug thumping up his pillow to make it nice and comfortable. That clump was the little bug's picture book hitting the floor. You see, the little bug's mother had already told him good night 5 times, but instead of going to sleep, he began looking at his picture book. Then he heard his mother coming back to check on him. He threw the book to the floor with a clump and squeezed his eyes shut and hurried and went to sleep. You'll probably hear him snoring any minute. Oh, said the three bears, listening very hard because they had never heard a bug snore before. This bed is too full, said the Papa Bear. Skedaddle back to your own beds now and go to sleep. Just then there was an eek, creak, squeak, and a tap, rap, snap, and a bump, thump, clump, and a crash. The whole bed came crashing down. And all the little mice and the little spiders and the little bugs sat straight up in their beds and called out in fright, "What was that?" And that is the end of that one. So tomorrow night, Sheila, she's good. Sheila loves story time. All right, Delilah, Daisy, and Denver, be good for your dad tonight while your mom's at school. And I love you guys, and good night. And I will see you in 1 month. 1 month. I love you. Thanks for coming to Amy's Jukebox Story Time.